Prime Minister must leave. Awaiting new Prime Minister election as Boris' ridiculously agreement triggered backlash over UK. Boris Johnson's admission that he would be willing to accept an interim agreement on the Northern Ireland Protocol has triggered an angry reaction, with one suggesting it is time to pack his bags. The Prime Minister confirmed he would be willing to accept a temporary deal on the issue, centred on the dispute over the mechanism for preventing a hard border on the island of Ireland, in a letter to constituent Dr. Timothy Bradshaw, which was subsequently shared that Mr. Johnson's letter followed similar remarks by Lord David Frost last week, but it arrived after the Brexit minister quit his cabinet role, with his brief passing to Foreign Secretary Liz Truss. And plenty of readers suggested the Tory MP for South West Norfolk should replace the current occupant of number 10 sooner rather than later. Referring to Mr. Johnson's predecessor, one reader, Harburn, commented, "Not one jot better than May. Perhaps they should have read the small print. If Brexit wasn't a disaster, the Prime Minister and Remain politicians have turned it into one. They are an embarrassment to the hard-working British taxpayer, and the Conservatives will pay at the next election. Governance over Northern Ireland to be handed to the European Union. So the UK will just consist in future of England, Wales, and Scotland. However, given the gravity and urgency of the difficulties, we have been prepared to consider an interim agreement as a first step to deal with the most acute problems, including trade frictions, subsidy control, and governance." He added, "I fully accept that such an agreement would still leave many underlying strains unresolved, for example, those caused by diverging UK and EU rules over time. It would therefore be inherently provisional in nature and would accordingly need to include mechanisms for addressing outstanding issues and resolving new concerns as they arise." A UK government spokesman said the protocol is continuing to undermine the Belfast, Good Friday, agreement, and we have a responsibility to fix it urgently. As we have said before, it is essential that we resolve the most pressing issues now: the free flow of trade between Great Britain and Northern Ireland, subsidy control, and the role of the European Court of Justice. They added, "Even if we reach agreement on the most urgent issues, we would of course still need to agree a long-term arrangement to deal with the full range of issues set out in our command paper. As the Foreign Secretary set out yesterday, our preference is for a negotiated outcome, but we need to pick up the pace of talks in the new year. If solutions cannot be agreed, we will use the Article 16 safeguard mechanism to protect the Belfast, Good Friday, agreement." Boris Johnson is now facing a similar challenge, and not just on the COVID front. The Squad is getting jittery about the state of the Northern Ireland Protocol too. After the departure of Lord Frost, a minister who was on their side, it's only going to get rougher from here on in, with more difficult motions and votes being tabled, and tougher questions in order to avoid any outcomes that may compromise freedom from the EU. The whips and number 10 need to get a grip on their parliamentary handling, and soon, if they are going to have a hope of resetting in the new year. Naturally, this is a complex task. There are many reasons to rebel, and the government has made itself a far easier target thanks to its chaotic handling of scandals, but it should learn from previous administrations who have tried and failed to placate this group of highly effective troublemakers. Firstly, the different reasons rebellions are forming must be identified. The new intake of MPs in 2019 are in some cases dealing with seats the Conservative Party has never encountered before. This is challenging, and they need reassurance that there is some kind of electoral plan to hold on to these seats. A logical approach to COVID could help settle some nerves. For those who just hate Johnson and have had personal run-ins, there's no point in engaging. That's just not going to change, but what the powers that be must not do is placate the die-hard rebels. They are ultimately unmovable. There are no baubles to offer, they have loyalty to a cause, not a person, because of their purist views. Cameron and May suffered by bringing them into the fold with ministerial jobs that were promptly ditched as soon as the government made collective decisions they disagreed with. Government made collective